continue to talk about that throughout the broadcast. Louisville in the red and the white. And Anna DeBeer serves to get us started this evening. Duke wearing the blue. And there's PK just with an overhit right at the net. And the Blue Devils take the first point of the evening. Emma Worthington steps behind the service line. The ACC setter of the week currently, and it's back-to-back points for the Blue Devils, this time via the block.
Gracie Johnson doing a great job of turning her left hand back into the court to seal that line.
Gracie Johnson, a team captain, one of the best Duke players over the last several seasons. Louisville on the board here. Charitie Luper getting credit for the opening kill of the night for the Cardinals. And that'll send Elena Scott back to serve, the Louisville libero. And Scott does a terrific job defensively to keep it alive. Was that deflected? It was not. Just an attack error from Duke. It's another point to Louisville to even the opening set at 2 points apiece.
Louisville got a little lucky there, a little miscommunication on the overpass in the middle of that rally.
You see Scott's sensational numbers. Joined the 1,000 dig club earlier this season. And on the pace she's on, she's going to pile those career totals up much, much higher over the course of her career in red and black. Just an awkward ball, nearly an overpass. And Worthington hesitated. And it goes off the net and gets past her down for a Louisville point, their third straight.
Those are the toughest ones as a setter. You either want that ball to ricochet off the net quickly or go over, not just barely graze it. That's a tough ball to play.
For Duke, the swing came from Johnson, and Louisville's blockers that time doing the job. Aiko Jones. She's been terrific over the last month or so, and she gets credit there. 4 straight points for Louisville.
Jones and Cressy can create a wall out on the left side attacker.
And Jones got a piece of it there, couldn't quite send it back to the Duke side. And then Louisville not able to keep it alive. The point goes to Duke and Gracie Johnson, grad student from Virginia Beach.
Great job from Gracie Johnson in varying the tempo there. She had just gotten blocked on the ball before. You don't always want to tip right after a block, but varying that tempo against the block is going to be big for her tonight.
Johnson, though, with the service error, unfortunately for her. She's nearly doubled up her ace total with her error total behind the service line thus far this year, but a sensational player, one of the best in the ACC. Here's an overpass, clock all over it. Another one comes her way, and a chance for Louisville to strike here. They go to Luper, and Luper does it.
Luper has been so efficient down the stretch this season for the Cards. You see this an off-system ball being set from Elena Scott. That is not an easy ball to hit, but Luper's elevation takes her up over the block.
So Louisville doubling up Duke early on here. It's a very difficult place to come in and win as an opponent. Duke able to score here, though. Little difficult ball for Louisville to handle. And
yeah, missed opportunity from the Louisville Cardinals there. That was not a tough dig, but it was a dig that didn't get taken care of to keep the offense in system.
Christina Barrow, the serving specialist, comes in and has a service error to give Louisville the point. Barrow's 27th service error this season. And the denial. Kara Cressy, the swing from Rachel Richardson, and Cressy met it immediately and sent it back the other way.
And we see the serves from Louisville right now going after Rachel Richardson in left back. She's going to need to carry a big passing load for the Blue Devils tonight and try to keep them in system, or a lot of the offense is going to fall on her shoulders.
That serve right at Gracie Johnson, but Johnson, after a difficult ball to receive for her, she's on the receiving end of a pass and able to score off the hands of Kara Cressy.
And you could see Cressy after that one a little bit frustrated. It was right in her hands, but she just didn't have great positioning over the net.
The service errors, an early theme for Duke here. Their third already.
And we expect to see some errors from them tonight. They're going to try to serve tough to slow down the Cardinals' offense, but they need to get this ball in play too and really find that balance.
Challenging serve there from Cressy. And then Duke with the attacking error as Jess Robinson couldn't keep it in play. Mentioned Duke with a ranked win this year. That came against Creighton way back in August. 0-4 against ranked opponents since then. DeBeer denied on the overpass. Another chance for Louisville here, though. They go to PK. Johnson just has to get it over. PK once again, and this time no mistake at all.
The first one, Ellie and PK were just a little too tight to the pin. You see a lot better spacing here, and PK's able to split that block on the slide.
And Louisville well in control early on here. We've got a Duke tie, including their meeting earlier this season in the month of October in Durham. Point to Duke out of the timeout. Rachel Richardson coming through.
We see a much better serve receive there from the Blue Devils that was able to open up their offense.
There's Anna DeBeer, and just a rare attacking error for her, especially on a swing like that. You'd almost bet your house that she'd at least keep it in play there.
She mishit that ball a little bit off her wrist, so when you don't hit it with your hand, it gets a little bit tougher.
DeBeer with 14 kills in the victory over Clemson last time out for Louisville. PK scores off hands.
That's my favorite part about Anna DeBeer, though. She just had an error that was egregious, I guess, but like ugly, right? And then she
by
comes
her
back,
standard.
Yeah, but comes back with a perfect serve receive to allow her team to be successful.
Ellie Glock behind the service line, the Louisville setter, had 52 assists against Clemson. Johnson, and that took a couple of touches from Louisville defenders, and it's a point to Duke.
That's a great shot by Johnson, but you see she had to get past Iko Jones to get there, past Ellie Glock down the line, and then after it's been deflected twice, that's a tough dig for Luper on the back line.
Johnson with 4 consecutive games with 10 or more kills. As she goes, Duke goes, and she goes here up high for a block.
That's the second block we've seen from her where she's just had fantastic blocking form and being able to finish that line shot back into the middle of the court for a point.
Johnson with over 40 blocks on the season. Louisville goes to DeBeer again, and that's more like her standard. That one hit on a line. Mentioned the 14 kills for DeBeer against Clemson, but of late, not quite as high scoring as she typically is. It's just 2 of her last 5 games have been in double figures in terms of kills. Glock using tremendous effort to try and keep it alive for Louisville, but can't quite keep that ball in play. And it's another kill to Duke and Gracie Johnson. Johnson with a game-high 4 kills thus far. Worthington behind the service line. The transfer from Cornell. Been a big impact transfer as well. Sets it up here for Carrie Keefe. Louisville scrambling. DeBeer swinging her hand through it just to get it over. And a cheer from the crowd. And then the block for the Cardinals to finish off that point. The effort from DeBeer deserves plenty of credit, but PK will put her name on the ledger with the block.
Kills are fun in volleyball, but it's always fun to win a rally with great defense. And after a great defensive play, nothing ends a rally better than a block.
And then an ace for Louisville to continue this little run. Momentum swings or something, huh?
And it's fun how it's like a big hit in football or something like that. A big dig, a big hustle play is what really can shift momentum in the middle of a set.
That time off hands. Louisville hoping for the block, couldn't come through with it. As Keefe, the sophomore who had 15 kills in the first meeting between these two teams, comes through there. That one hit the antenna from Aiko Jones.
It was overset from Ellie Glock there, just outside the antenna. You saw Aiko try to adjust her approach and go off of 1 foot. That's not her normal approach. She's usually a 2-foot hitter off the right side, and she wasn't able to bring it back in.
Saw a moment ago the ace numbers for Gracie Johnson. Just all around one of the best players in the ACC. Preseason All-ACC. The only Duke selection on that preseason team. Kira Cressy here for Louisville. Cressy coming off of a double-figure kill game against Clemson. First time in a few weeks. In 6 games total that she's had 10 or more. Here's an overpass, and Cressy has back-to-back. Not often that they come as easy as this.
We've seen a decent amount of overpasses coming from Duke tonight, but Louisville hasn't really capitalized on them. I love seeing Cressy being aggressive and scoring that point right away.
Neither team particularly clean so far in the first set, I would say. Here's Charitie Luper. That's plenty clean, though, that time. Cross court from left to right for Luper.
Again, her elevation just provides her shots that other people don't have. Her ability to hit that ball and where she hits that ball gives her some different angles.
They go to Luper again, and that ball was in. Louisville had back-to-back kills from Cressy a moment ago. Now back-to-back kills from Charitie Luper.
Fantastic swing from Luper, but the highlight of that play starts with the dig from Anna DeBeer landing right on Ellie Glock's head for them to run that ball really fast out to Luper.
And another timeout on the floor for Duke.
On the scoreboard. However, one thing that I've noticed, and I have kind of been watching so far this first set, is Louisville has really started to take pride in their blocking. It's been a little bit of a sore spot for them as the season has gone on, but we've seen a couple big blocks here tonight, and I'm interested of how that theme kind of plays out and grows for them over this postseason time.
Aiko Jones has got one of the Louisville blocks. She serves here. Duke goes to Richardson out of the timeout. Another chance here for Louisville, and they go to Luper once again. Duke out of sorts. Johnson just has to bump set it over. Feeding the hot hand, and Luper continues to be hot.
One of the things that you cannot point out enough about these Louisville Cardinals is Elena Scott's ability to take the second ball. The Blue Devils did a great job. You see, they took Ellie Glock out of the offense. They took the setter out, and Elena Scott is still able to deliver.
Another overpass. That time, Madison Bryant able to defend it for Duke. But another chance for Louisville. Glock calls her own number. There's a pancake from Worthington. Luper and Elena Scott right there. Glock puts it over. And then finally, Duke with the point from Carrie Keefe. Good defensive volleyball from both teams.
Yeah, great hustle plays. We talked about how that's the fun part to watch. The kills are fun, but the hustle plays are great too. I love Ellie Glock being aggressive during those plays, but neither of them were quality attempts to get a kill.
Service error, though, returns the point to Louisville and returns the 8-point advantage to Louisville. Fourth service error already committed by Duke.
And at tough times. We talked about the defensive effort that was just shown. The team was on a little upswing. Maybe even if you were talking about bringing momentum into the second set, and then that missed serve can just be such a dagger.
Jones going to the floor. DeBeer. Luper, and just missed it. Not by much. Ball looked like it was bending toward the line, but I think clearly out. Danny Busboom-Kelly remains seated on the Louisville bench. No thought of a challenge just yet.
The timing was just a little off. I think they had multiple people running back row attacks in kind of an off system, and Luper just didn't quite finish her swing, and that ball ends up floating out of bounds.
Cressy, that was off hands. Kara Cressy having a nice first set. And Louisville just a couple of points away from more or less cruising their way through set number one here at home. That one right off the tape. In the wrong direction from a Louisville perspective for Kara Cressy.
Gracie Johnson back in the front row for the Blue Devils.
That one off the tape, but it rolls over the right direction from a Duke perspective.
That's what you hope for when it hits the tape. And just such a tough ball to play. There's no way to get that ball up.
Once Louisville able to get the ball in play, Anna DeBeer lays down the law. That's been the story this year, at least one of the stories, I think, for Anna DeBeer. She's been there when Louisville has needed her, but hasn't been able to rack up those double-figure kill total games because she hasn't been needed to in a lot of cases.
And I think the offense from Louisville is very balanced. Adding Luper in Claire Chausset's spot from last year, there's back row attacking options in most situations, and Glock doesn't have to just force the ball to DeBeer and make her carry the load of 20 kill games every night.
Still leading the way for Louisville with close to 300 kills on the season. There's Aiko Jones scoring for the Cardinals, and Louisville now on set point, looking to take set number one over Duke. And that's about as awkward as it gets, but it's an ace for Louisville, and that'll end the first set.
The first set, you see she got 6 swings, but they weren't necessarily quality swings. And look for her to be the one that steps up with an ace.
There you go, right on cue. And that one just kind of fooled Charitie Luper, it looked like. She was right on top of it, but let it drop in. She thought it was going to be out. But it's an ace for Keefe, and Duke, like they did in the first set, strike first. And they strike second as well, just like they did in the first set, this time via the block from Rachel Richardson. So Keefe will continue. There's Aiko Jones. She's done that several times this season. Just a veteran move. Almost a no-look shot. Her head is not even looking in that direction. And the defense unaware that that was where her plan was all along. DeBeer the dig, but it presents an opportunity for Duke. They can't take advantage.
Great job by Worthington.
And then DeBeer smashes it right into the net to give Duke the point ultimately.
Fantastic net play and ball sense from Worthington to get up there and get a touch on that overpass that Cressy was ready to hammer.
So now Richardson back behind the service line once again. Cressy will put an end to that, though, with another good swing. Louisville's middle blocker having a good night so far and an exceedingly efficient night for a player who is exceedingly efficient every night. So far hitting 800, 4 for 5, Kara Cressy. Ball was a little bit off Luper's pace. That one more on the pace, but Duke's blockers do the job. And then Luper comes through with a block of her own.
That was a little bit telegraphed by Worthington. You could see she jumped with the intention of tipping, and the Louisville block read her.
For setters, Emma Worthington calls her own number quite a bit. She's got 49 kills on the season. But Luper read that the entire way. Cressy, that was down the line and in. And Kara Cressy continues her pinpoint precision to start tonight's game.
Coach Nagel having a discussion with the down ref.
And how about that? A big ooh from the crowd on the ace.
Almost a mirror image of the last one that went to left front, hit the net, and then that side spin brings it right down the tape.
Louisville leading the ACC in aces. There's Gracie Johnson from the left side.
And she's had great luck down the line.
Johnson's 5th kill on 11 swings. That's a few ticks more efficient than she has been this year, hitting 197 entering tonight's game. That's a 364 clip so far tonight. Cressy. Ball hung in the air for a long moment. But when you have the length that Kara Cressy does, you can recover, and she did so there.
And fantastic by Ellie Glock. She's front row, so the Duke block jumped with her because the ball was tight and they needed to, but she was able to keep the ball on her side and set up Cressy.
Whoa. Just out. That ball was moving and swerving through the air, though. And Danny Busboom-Kelly wants to see whether that ball was indeed out. Called out, but it looked very close.
I thought in real time that it was in because of exactly what you said. It started out as a floater, but Luper's hybrid serve kind of starts as a floater and then gets some of that side spin dip, which really keeps the ball in as it goes to land. I should have waited till I saw the replay before I said I thought it was in, right?
I thought it was in live as well until the call went the other way.
Yeah.
Very close based on that look. This one will be a little bit more difficult to spot, just bodies in the way. And again, we point this out almost every review it seems like, but the point to remember here isn't whether or not the ball was in fact in. The point to remember is whether or not there's enough evidence to show that the ball was in or out. And if there's not enough evidence, the call will stand.
I think if there's not enough evidence, they should just like take a vote, take a poll. What do you think? Crowd control? That's so tough.
It's very close.
That's exactly how I saw it in real time. Very close.
And based on what we were seeing, I would have to suspect that the ruling will remain. Let's see. It does.
Gave you the signal and said it was close. You can read his lips.
So Louisville down one of their 2 challenges. A couple of balls that DeBeer hasn't been able to take a full swing on. Johnson takes a full swing, and very successfully so, off the hands of Louisville defenders for the point.
She has really found that line, whether it's scoring directly off the line, finding the hole when they try to really close the line, or going off that block.
And if Duke is going to pull off this upset, as DeBeer returns in kind scoring offhands, but if Duke is going to pull off this upset and bolster that postseason resume in a big, big way on the road against a top 5 team, Gracie Johnson's going to have a sensational night, and so far, she's on the way to one, hitting over 400 with 6 kills.
I 100% agree, but if they are going to pull off the upset, they've got to find someone else to score as well.
Neck and neck in the second set. The bump set from Johnson all the way across court to Keefe. And the point goes to Louisville on the net violation.
And that was a tough ball for Keefe, but to continue our last point, I think Keefe is the player that they need to go to join Johnson in taking this to the next level.
She has been most of the year a very consistent player, Keefe, as a sophomore. Duke just not able to get that ball over the net. Great effort by the Blue Devils.
That good hustle play, good cover. I think we had a double pancake on that play. Stack of pancakes?
Ah. Just needs some syrup, that's all. Service error gives the point to Duke. And to the point we were making about Johnson and Keefe, Keefe right there with Johnson at the top of the stat sheet in terms of kills, but a less efficient night, 2 for 9.
And overall this season, right side attackers have had some success against the Louisville block and defense. So I would think that that's part of Duke's scouting report would be to see swings exactly like that from Keefe.
It erases a really strong effort from Elena Scott. Well, that is what the Blue Devils need to start seeing. Number 11 getting on the score sheet more and more consistently. She's had 10 or more kills in 22 of 25 games over the course of the season, Keefe. So you'd almost expect her to continue to have a hot hand. Here's Richardson. Louisville goes to DeBeer. She's denied. They'll go to her once again. And the chance sets up for Duke. They go to Keefe. Block gets it over.
Great block touches from both sides in this rally.
And then PK raises the noise level with that one. A long rally between 2 good teams. And PK finished it off.
And as I said, great block touches on both sides allow the defense to produce a quality dig that can lead to an in-system swing in transition.
Left-handed finish there for Lizzie Fleming. The grad student and captain missed a lot of time last year because of an injury, but has returned in full force this season. And off the bench, Riley Cadle comes in to serve for the Blue Devils. Aiko Jones. That ball took a touch, and it's a point to Louisville.
That 2-ball out of the middle is tough to defend. And then when Jones is able to go high hands as well, it's really an impossible ball to pick up from the defense.
That was out. Charitie Luper trying to hit it down the line, but missed once again. Just her second miss of the evening so far in terms of attacking errors. She doesn't miss there, despite a terrific effort by Bryant getting down to the ground to try and play that ball. Luper gets the kill.
The angles that she creates, that was an off-speed ball of sorts, still with a lot of pace, but just a high wrist snap, sharp cross.
You talked about it earlier, but her athletic ability, her ability to leap into the air just gives her more options than a lot of other players, as Aiko Jones just smothers that ball. But it's because she's in the air for so long, she can have different variations of shots.
It's how long she's in the air and the point at which she contacts the ball just opens up. We want to go back to like sophomore geometry class in high school, you know, on a 3D plane. When she's touching that ball at 10 feet, 10-6 is where she's contacting the ball. It enables her to hit those angles at 16 feet, 10 feet, 8 feet that other people can't hit.
You've got me over here calculating the slope.
There's something there.
Y equals mx plus b over here.
You nailed it. Good job.
It's one of the few things in math that stuck. You saw the numbers for Aiko Jones. She's off to a good night as well with 4 kills. Point to Louisville on the attack error from Keefe.
And I like the decision to go to Keefe on that scrappy play out of the back row. We've said it a couple times this set, but they really need her to be the one that lights the fire.
Another very close call right on the line, but it goes down as a service error. And Louisville not looking like they're going to challenge this one. And the service error game has swung completely the other way. Duke was committing more of them early. Louisville now with the game total. Block. Oh, terrific defensive effort from a couple of Duke players, Bryant and Keefe. And then ultimately the point goes to Duke for the net violation against Louisville.
Louisville wanting Coach Busboom Kelly to challenge 4 contacts here, that they did not touch the ball on the block in the middle of that rally.
You heard the boos coming in from the crowd.
This is funny. We always talk about the players like signaling to the coach or giving them advice, but this is a flat out conversation with the R2.
And they are going to take a look at this. First,
so
the
it's
terrific
right
effort
here.
there.
Yes, that one is the one. However, interesting here. We need to see that whole replay again, but it has to be the 3rd contact being attacked, obviously, for it to be 4 touches.
Right.
And they have to play more. So I just wanted to see that again, that there's the dig here. Oh, this is after. So they are seeing if they touched it.
So it goes off the tape. It looks like Cressy gets a piece of it, at least to my eye, maybe like her elbow there.
This is one of the really tough ones where if she wasn't there, yes, this ball hit the tape and may not have come over.
Right.
But did her arms brush the top of this ball? Now, very interesting. In the replay, I don't think you see the ball in contact with her arms.
If you do, it's on this look. The other one is inconclusive to me. Let's see what the call is. An important call over the course of this second set. Duke has been much more competitive in this one than they were in the first. And it's going to remain a Duke point, and the call not just stands, it was confirmed.
And he was saying it brushed her forearm. I think he was looking at the same view that you were, and that we had kind of said where, yes, it hit the tape, yes, the ball stopped, but it touched her. And that's a hard one for the blocker because, yes, you feel the tape, you feel the ball, but did you touch the ball through the tape or did you touch the ball clean? And that's a tough one to articulate. Maybe hence the conversation they had before they challenged it.
Chance for Duke. Now a chance for Louisville. And they turn to Luper, and Luper laces the ball into the back corner.
We've seen Luper hit that cross-court shot. We've talked about those angles that she creates, and you see the read there from Madison Bryant was that cross shot, but Luper also has that ability just to go high over the block.
We'll step aside. It's Louisville by 2, 10 points away from taking a commanding 2-set lead. And that advantage is due in large part to the good night of Charitie Luper, leading the way not just for the Cardinals, but in the game with 7 kills on 15 swings. And those 7 kills, Luper inching closer to a 4th consecutive double-figure kill night. For a player that has been remarkably consistent in her first year in Cardinals red and black. Cressy, that one was in. Well, the initial call was that it was in. And now we're going to have, I'm sure, some arguments. What was the call there, Steph?
The down ref called it in, but the line judge called it out. And then the bench went crazy, but I think it got overruled to be in.
It must have, clearly has. And there's Luper with another point, this time an ace. So it all got settled down, and Louisville continues this run to take command.
I feel like those close calls get more heated when you're out of challenges, and Danny Busboom-Kelly has already used 2 challenges and lost them, so then you kind of get that mentality that you're the fighter.
Really good ball there from Duke that Iko Jones just couldn't keep alive. Yeah, when you're out of challenges, you got to kind of resort to the old school. You just got to lean on the officials a little bit.
Begging?
Yeah. Begging's one word for it. I was trying to be a little more delicate about it.
Hey, it was more successful to beg in that play than it was to challenge in the first 2, so we might be onto something.
Duke needs a run. And they're not going to find it just yet. Service error committed by Worthington.
You're exactly right, though. There's got to be a little bit of now or never in Duke's step. We talked about in the opening that this is the match that they had highlighted. If they want to control their destiny to the NCAA tournament, middle of the second set when they're within 3 or 4 points is really the time that they need to step up.
They look to Johnson once again. Louisville looks to DeBeer. And ultimately it finishes as a point. Fleming went up for it and just couldn't get it over the net defensively for Duke. And DeBeer with another kill.
We talked about Luper's ability to hang, but DeBeer is right there as well. She was able to wait just a second and catch the block on the way down, but still take a really strong swing.
That's off the hands of Reese Robbins, the freshman that checked in for Louisville at 6'5", and immediately pulled back out of the game.
And Gracie Johnson with continued success down the line, no matter who the blocker's been for the Cardinals on the right. She's matched up against Ellie Glock, against Iko Jones, and against Reese Robbins.
You see Johnson there about to serve. She's leading the way for Duke, but she needs some help, like we've said. The only player right now over 200 even for the Blue Devils. She's hitting over 300 right now.
And another place where the Blue Devils can find help is in their block.
DeBeer scores off hands to make it 20 for the Cardinals in set 2. Here's Ellie Glock. Took a lot off that one and took too much off.
To serve short is when you serve at the cross-court angle because the court's longer when you're going that way. So it's not quite as short of a serve off of your hand, and getting that touch is a challenge.
Louisville's gone to DeBeer a lot over the last few points, and she scores once again. And Louisville 4 points away now from that 2-set advantage. Overpass, but PK cannot take advantage.
There has been a lot of overpasses so far in this match, and the Cardinals have not done a great job of turning all of those into show balls and having fun with them.
Just leaving the door open ever so slightly for Duke.
Exactly.
Keefe, off hands.
There was a miscommunication between Worthington and Richardson earlier in that play. Richardson had come inside, Worthington set all the way out. So while Richardson was laying on the floor, that was a great set to Keefe in the back row.
Louisville fans making a little noise, just trying to make sure this set doesn't go awry from their perspective. Duke goes to Keefe again, and she scores off hands again. Carrie Keefe was on the ACC All-Freshman team last year, and despite that success has taken a big leap forward in year 2, and Duke has pulled it to within 1.
And we've been calling for it this whole set that she's the one that they need to add to this offense to join Gracie Johnson to score points.
Because Florida State has Syracuse on their schedule another time, and you know that Louisville, as we mentioned, will take on Pitt and Georgia Tech a time apiece. So there's going to be some more losses from those top 3, and if Florida State can just control their own destiny and do what you would expect them to do at this point in the year, they might emerge as the conference champs despite being unheralded at the moment. Point to Louisville out of the timeout.
And I think that fact in itself makes our point of the strength of this conference this season.
And you see the Luper totals nearing that double-figure mark once again. Louisville 3 points away, but Duke right here with them. Scott with the dig high into the air. Real opportunity here for Louisville. They turn to Cressy, and Johnson flying to her right. Can't keep it alive. And Duke is going to take one of their timeouts, trying to stay alive in this set against Louisville. Difficult environment to come and play in. It's been a bit of a subdued crowd, I would say, tonight in terms of the energy stuff, but they've brought it when they've needed to.
Yeah, I think we've had a couple of those defense.
Luper and Cressy leading the way right now on the score sheet with 8 kills apiece as Jolene Nagel writes some notes in the book. She's probably got a few notebooks that are filled with notes in her office somewhere over the years. Led this program to 14 20-win seasons over the course of her first 19. Out of the timeout, points to Louisville to give them the set point opportunity just on an attack error from Duke and from Robinson. And Coach Nagel going to take her second timeout in quick succession here to try and delay the Cardinals ever so slightly for another moment.
And they're actually going to look at a challenge here as well, that was a touch from the middle on the swing. And I think the challenge on top of the timeout, on top of the back-to-back timeouts, just really shows that the Duke coaching staff is seeing that same sense of urgency that we're seeing. They know this is an important match, and it was 13-15 at the first timeout in this set, and it got close. It was 20-21 when there was a timeout, and I think they're just really seeing if this set slips away, it's getting tougher and tougher to pick up the match.
Yeah, again, the call here, whether or not the ball was touched by either Cressy or Luper or potentially Anna DeBeer back there. But it looks more likely that maybe one of Luper or Cressy touched it.
I think it was hard. The set was a little bit low, so the ball kind of has some funky spin on it because it's being hit up.
And a very quick review, though we're still waiting on the signal. Couldn't tell the stress level of these two coaches by the looks of them. Danny Busboom Kelly full of smiles. Jolene Nagel full of pensive looks at the moment.
So officially, the challenge could not happen during the timeout. So while he already may have looked at it in the camera, that's not how the official protocol can go. So he will take one more look to be official. But he may already have an idea in mind.
Yeah, the official walked over to Coach Nagel and said, "You are challenging," just to confirm. So we'll do it again. Really hard to say, though, I would say, Steph, whether or not it takes a touch.
Yeah, this is where we're talking. You can see her body posture that she's leaning over because that ball was set just a little bit low. And then that becomes a ball that doesn't leave your hand in a downward trajectory into the block. It's kind of going up and being pushed out.
One thing that I find interesting, and this is a little bit in the off-the-rails category, is the way that different coaches use the physical card, the challenge card, as the call comes through, and it will remain a Louisville point. The challenge is not successful from Duke's perspective. But Jolene Nagel came up and very delicately just placed the card down on the scorer's table. I'd like to see somebody come out like a soccer ref and wave it in the air, you know.
I think the ones that they have here, too, are hard plastic, and they are an actual weapon. So I think that the coaches are a little bit safer with it.
Louisville on set point. They can take a commanding two-set lead here, and not quite yet. Richardson comes through from the left side for the Dukies. And that'll do it for set two. Set one ended on a Louisville ace. Set two ends on a service error from Duke in the middle. Sherman has played quite a bit this year, but not hugely significantly. This will be her 18th set of the season. And how about that for Aiko Jones? Not a pass that was perfectly placed to her, but somehow she's able to find a way to score on a ball like that.
And that's a shot we've seen her add to her game in the second half of this, her final sixth-year season.
Back-to-back points for Louisville. That is an excellent point, right? That seems like a new weapon that she's added to her bag, so to speak, this year. Showing that no matter how long you've been around, it's always an opportunity to learn and improve and get better. And the block, not quite. Not quite of the variety that maybe Luper wanted. Looks like she took that one perhaps off the face as we get a look at it.
I think this is actually excitement on
it is
how
excitement, you're right.
Straight down this ball went. I don't think Sherman expected that off of Luper's hands.
So Louisville coming out flying to start the third set. Elena Scott went flying there to keep it alive. Glock has to hit it over. And another dig from Scott to deny Johnson the kill. Good defensive stuff from Louisville. And they finish it off defensively with Aiko Jones on the block, putting Duke to sleep.
Louisville's focusing on their celebration rituals right now. Hannah Sherman has changed the tide out on the Cardinal defense.
Just hanging in the air there, Aiko Jones. They go to Jones again, and another off-speed ball from her. But it doesn't matter because the block of Louisville comes through once more. And this time, Sherman off the bench onto the score sheet.
Dan Meske wanted to see some crispness in the Louisville block. This is it.
And just as we were talking coming into the set about Louisville taking their foot off the accelerator, they're pushing down on the accelerator, it seems. Keefe able to come through for Duke to stop the bleeding and put the Blue Devils on the board.
We also talked about things that get the audience involved. All of those points were scored by the Louisville defense, not offense.
Bryant serves. Louisville goes to Sherman. That one went off her forearm, it looked like. They'll do it again. And a joust. And look at Sherman, bringing the fans to their feet. Just wanting it more.
She took my advice literally that the crowd likes defense better and took 2 attempts to attack with no kills and ended the rally with a defensive play.
Michael Jones is trying to say that was out off hands. And it is a point to Aiko Jones off hands.
It was called out. I thought it looked like it could have been in, and Gracie Johnson is adamant that it hit the, she literally just said, I'm 100% as she's telling her coach. So the ball was called out, but they are going to challenge that the ball was in. And Gracie Johnson's 100% sure, so we'll see.
She says she's 100% sure. And this will be Duke's second challenge if they don't get it. So both teams would be out of challenges if the call ultimately stands or is confirmed. Very close, might be on the white paint.
Ooh, it looks very in from that angle. Glock perfectly blocked that camera angle. Strategic?
That would be next level volleyball if she knows that. Talk about geometry.
Home court advantage?
Yeah,
Geometry?
Talk about the geometry, the camera angles. Very close. I mean, this might be the best look here.
Yeah, I actually think this angle looks the most in, but then it's hard. Is that just the shadow? I think the ball contacts even the brown right there.
Yeah, I think on that look, it looks very in.
I think this is one of the ones where you kind of have to piece together the different angles of the puzzle. We're 0 for 3 tonight, so the pressure's on.
Well, this time, A squared plus B squared equals...
Another block for Gracie Johnson.
That's right.
I didn't want to make you actually do the math, so.
Trust me, I couldn't have. I didn't bring my calculator today.
Well, we know what it means to be 100% sure that the ball was in. She was right.
That's right. Charitie Luper, 100% sure that she scores here. And again, just like we were saying in that second set, that felt like the opportunity for Duke to swing momentum in their favor based on the way Louisville's come out here in set 3. Good opportunity here for the Cardinals. They go to Cressy. And when you have her length, you're able to not even be fully into the air and still hit the ball down to the floor.
Yeah, her contact point is unreal, even at just full extension. Add that she is a good jumper to that, and her contact point is phenomenal.
Both Luper and Cressy on 9 kills right now. Point to Duke through Keefe. Louisville, one of the better defensive teams in the ACC, and right now the numbers back that up on the night. Duke hitting sub 100 so far. So they don't need to worry about trying to run any offense there. They get an ace from Gracie Johnson. Backs it up with the error, however. The service game gives, and then it taketh away. Cross-court ball from Keefe. Well placed.
That's a great shot from Keefe. She took a little bit of power off of it to be able to put it at a sharper angle. Great location. Hitting right to the tee of the 10-foot line on the sideline.
Service error, though, gives the point back to Louisville. And that battle in the service error category has teetered back to Duke, and not in the way that the Blue Devils won.
Yeah, the second set was pretty clean. A lot of those errors were in that first set where everyone was kind of feeling each other out, and now it seems like there's a little bit of wind out of the sails of the service game for both teams.
25 aces on the season for Keefe, including 1 tonight. Not able to do it here, though.
We need some of that defensive hype back from the Louisville Cardinals.
Ball hasn't been in play for about 4 or 5 points in a row.
Okay, so we talked about ways to get the crowd into the game earlier. This is a way to get the crowd out of the game.
But for Louisville, they'll continue to trade punches right now with Duke, back and forth, back and forth. Duke's the one that needs to get this run off. We will have a rally here. Sherman with the big swing.
Glock and Sherman have struggled to connect on that one ball. That's the third opportunity that we've seen. That ball needs to be just a little bit higher for Hannah Sherman.
th kill of the year for Hannah Sherman there. Playing it again in her 18th set of the season. Louisville looking to make it back-to-back kills. And they managed to do it through Charitie Luper. That puts her in double figures.
She's able to hit that ball at so many different points, and she hangs, and on her way down, after everyone thinks that the ball is going to be off speed, she threw it deep.
DeBeer with a challenging serve, and Johnson's just going to have to bump it over her head. Louisville goes to Sherman, and Sherman hits it right into the net.
Still just a little bit low on that connection.
You're talking between Glock and Sherman there.
Definitely.
Glock with 26 assists. Leading the way game-wise in that category, and that one sails into the first row of the seats. Point to Louisville on an attack error there from Gracie Johnson. And that'll take us to a timeout. Louisville leading by 7, hitting that 15-point mark. We'll take the timeout as well. Cardinals looking to sweep Duke.
Rufus hates being
Your best bet to get in is to hope that somebody returns their ticket to the university because they couldn't make it. Tickets are sold out. Ball high into the air, nearly scraped the roof. Another one. And Johnson able to score off Louisville's hands, and Duke takes the first point out of that timeout.
Johnson's stats don't show it quite as well as they should, but she's been a fantastic decision maker tonight and not had a lot of errors for the Blue Devils.
Very powerful swing from Luper. Less powerful one from Johnson, but a more effective one. Back-to-back kills for Johnson. She is Duke's engine, has been for the last few seasons. Looking for her 18th game with 10 or more kills. And she's nearly there with 9. Looking for number 10 right here. Can't do it. Luper's got her 11th.
And typically 11 kills would get Luper a double-double, but she only has 2 digs tonight, just quiet out of the back row. And typically it's the opposite. She'll get the dig number before she reaches the kill number.
Oh, Cressy denied by Johnson. And if Duke's going to edge their way back in this set and this match, Johnson's going to have a big hand to play. Johnson filling up the stat sheet with 9 kills, 4 digs, 3 blocks. And then Keefe with the dunk here for Duke.
And we've mentioned it a couple of times. Johnson's played a great game. Just no one else from Duke has really been able to step up and have a game worthy of beating the number 5 team in the nation.
Aside from Carrie Keefe, a double-double for her now, 11 kills and 12 digs. Keefe and Johnson having typically strong performances, but it's been the supporting cast. Haven't had that third scoring option to really challenge Louisville. But make no mistake, Carrie Keefe has been really terrific.
She has, and ironically, she's even been better out of the back row.
Right-handed Jolene Nagel.
Sometimes you just want to see the notes, right?
Just like the second set, Duke is right there within touching distance of Louisville here in set 3. They just need that run to come together. They're on a 3-0 run right now, hoping to extend it. Charitie Luper ends the run. And when Louisville has needed a point tonight, they've turned to number 4. Charitie Luper said that she came to Louisville because she wanted to play on a team that could compete for a national championship and win a national championship. And she contributes to her team here with an ace.
And we talked about her serve earlier on the one challenge being that hybrid serve. It kind of comes out of her hand as a floater, but she adds that little bit of spin at the end. And when it doesn't spin, it ends up out.
Fine margins in the sport of volleyball. There's a look at Riley Cadle, junior from Colorado. Has had several games in which he's made a big impact in the blocking category. Louisville a bit bemused at that call. Kira Cressy was trying to celebrate her point. Thought it took a touch. It did not. It's an attack error. And for Cressy, she's denied her 10th kill. And Duke cannot pull any closer than 3.
And we had about this same spot in the second set. I think it was 13-15, Louisville made a little bit of run, and Duke was able to come back and get the set to 20-21. This really is maybe not the last shot, but maybe the last traditional shot for Duke to throw a run together here in this match. Anything else would be considered quite a comeback, I think.
Briggy Petrenko into the match for the Cardinals. The backup setter transferred in and has become a weapon in the service game for Louisville. Petrenko with the ace there, her 25th of the season as compared to 18 service errors. And on a night where we've had a few service errors, a player with that kind of efficiency is a welcome sight. DeBeer, 2 chances at it. Camden Schrand, the true freshman, with a good dig. And then that one off the toes, it looked like, of Charitie Luper. As Robinson gets the kill for Duke and keeps the Blue Devils just within arm's reach of Louisville.
And great defense in transition on both sides.
Luper into the hands of Bryant. And then the block of Sherman. Hannah Sherman called into action in the third set, and she has made an impact. And
they called a net violation here on 11.
So the point goes to Duke, just announced to the crowd. You hear some groans coming down,
a net
and
violation
boos indeed.
on Sherman, and Danny Busboom-Kelly does not have a challenge remaining.
So nothing that she can do about it as she takes a seat. So Duke back to within 3 on what turned out to be a net violation. And they're all over the place right here. Louisville gonna go to DeBeer. Good dig from Bryant. Johnson. DeBeer again. Off hands ultimately. Johnson came flying in late to get a piece of the ball. Couldn't get it up. And DeBeer with the kill for Louisville. Her 7th tonight. Another one of those nights where other players are outshining her in that kill category. But here in set 3, with the match on the line, looking to close it out, Louisville turns to number 14. Four-point lead, 4 points away for the Cardinals. Jones with the rejection.
And that one was cleanly Jones, but something about Hannah Sherman's presence has brought.
And that game, 5 o'clock on Thanksgiving week. Matter of fact, the day before Thanksgiving between Louisville and Georgia Tech. But those 2 games really significant, not just in the ACC, but across the entire landscape of college volleyball as we work our way towards the NCAA tournament, towards the selection show. Depending on how those results go, there could be ramifications elsewhere.
And if Louisville can win out, I would expect them, based on the other opponents that other teams have to play in that top 5, to be a very potential top 4 seed.
And therefore having the opportunity to host a regional. Richardson scores for Duke out of the timeout. Can the Blue Devils put together a run to erase the deficit? They've trailed the entire way here in set 3. Or can Louisville put them away right now? They turn to Sherman, and that one just fell in to the dismay of this Louisville crowd. And Keith, I think, bore the brunt of that one.
I'm not sure what happened, but she caught something to the face.
Through the hands of both Sherman and Jones. from Gracie Johnson for her 10th kill on the night. And Duke is pulled to within 2. And some nervous cheers from L&N Federal Credit Union Arena, and maybe a little hex from the fans behind Richardson. Look at the block for the Blue Devils. Worthington, as well as Robinson. And a timeout for Louisville, with Duke down just by 1. The Cardinals were rolling to start the 3rd set, but Duke has been able to rally.
And we've seen all the missed serves for Duke maybe starting to pay off now and challenging the Louisville serve receive just a little bit, making the offense predictable. I'm not sure what happened to Keith, but she seems to be out there, and I've seen her tell her teammates multiple times that she's all right and she's okay.
You see the 4-0 run for Duke. Can they make it a 5-0 run? Or even more? Challenging serve, but Louisville able to handle it. They turn to Aiko Jones, and there is the block for the Blue Devils once again, making a difference and pulling them even in the set, 22 apiece. And the noise level rises from these red-clad fans. Can Louisville return to the lead? They do, through DeBeer. And you can almost see her saying, come on, to her teammates.
And that's when you see just how dynamic the Cardinals offense is. We haven't seen Anna DeBeer hit a ball from the right side yet tonight, but when they need it, it is more about the person and the options than it is about comfort.
And it's an ace. A kill for DeBeer, followed up by an ace for DeBeer. And she is trying to single-handedly squash any thought of a Duke comeback. That mark. Got a lot of work to do tonight if she wants to add to that total. You see there, that's the total for her time in charge in Durham. Louisville a point away. DeBeer serves. Duke looks to Johnson. And Louisville now looks to Luper, and that's in, and that's it. For the 8th time in the last 10 meetings between